The first motorsports competition at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway took place in 1909 in the form of motorcycle races, and automobile races soon followed. When the track's original surface of crushed stone and tar proved problematic, the owners paved the track with more than 3 million bricks, giving rise to its name, the Brickyard. It wasn't until Memorial Day of 1911, however, that the first 500-mile race was held at Indianapolis Motor Speedway and won by Ray Haroon and his Marmon Wasp. What quickly became known as the Indianapolis 500 became one of the nation's leading sporting events in the 1920s and 30s. To win the Indy 500 was to achieve instant notoriety. The names of early winners like Tommy Milton, Lewis Meyer, and Wilbur Shaw are indelibly etched in the annals of American motorsports. A nationwide ban on motorsports during World War II, however, nearly spelled the end for the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, which lay in virtual ruin when a consortium headed by Indiana businessman Tony Holman purchased the facility in 1945. Holman and his partners invested heavily in the facility and expanded the spectator capacity to the point that the Indianapolis Motor Speedway became the world's largest sporting venue with the world's largest single-day sporting event, with crowds regularly topping 350,000. The March of Progress also included the gradual process of digging up the bricks in favor of a modern racing surface. By 1961, paving had been completed, leaving just the famous Yard of Bricks at the start-finish line as a tribute to the tradition of the Brickyard. Tonight, it's the PSRA Open ARCA Series Brickyard 150, and it's next on Track Limits Network. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Indianapolis, the virtual Indianapolis Motor Speedway. I'm Steve Singer with Track Limits Network, joined in the broadcast booth by Zach Millett. What's going on, Zach?
Hey, Steve. How's it going, man?
It's going good. Good to have you back up here in the booth for a good one here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Practice just about a minute or so away from getting wrapped up. Let's get into the race details here. Check those quickly. 150 miles, 60 laps the distance tonight, a 70% fuel load on board, 4 sets of tires available over the wall, no faster pairs, count them, 0 zip zilch, 3 attempts at a green-white checkered finish if we need it. Weather-wise, we're looking 68-degree ambient temperature, 44% humidity, partly cloudy skies, 13-mile-per-hour breeze, track temp very cool at 72 degrees Fahrenheit. Taking a look at the fast times here in this early session. Ryan Dunkelberger quickest with a 50.425. That's really getting around this place in a hurry, Zach.
Yeah, that's flying, Steve. You got to wonder if maybe a little draft in that, or if that's a single car run, man. That is ripping.
Ryan Dunkelberger second in the points coming into tonight behind Ken Couch. Couch leading the points, a virtual tie. Ken Couch with the tiebreaker of more top tens right now. Third place, David Bradford, only behind by a singular point. So very tight point standings here after Kansas. Black and red flags on the practice session. We won't waste much time. We're going to get right into qualifying right now. See who takes to the speedway first. It looks like it'll be Will Jones first out on the track. So, Zach, you said you did turn some laps around this place in the ARCA car with, I believe, a Conti setup. What's really the key to being fast around here? You said you were pretty much getting all you could get out of this place.
Yeah, it's weird compared to the fixed setup. The fixed setup is just so tough. So I'm eager to see what these qualifying times are going to look like. Loosening up the cars just seems like the name of the game, and trying to stay into the gas. Typical ARCA car, Steve, you know, momentum is everything. But, man, I'd be really impressed if I see anything around a 6 or even better.
Saw times in the 50.4 mark, but again, like you were saying, draft could come into play there. We'll see if those times are backed up in qualifying or not. Watching Will Jones here on his outlap, he's shaking the car not just down the backstretch, but real loose in the middle of the corner coming to green. And he's going to save it, but this could kill his lap because that's off of turn number 4.
Now, he's got the time to pull over and kind of restart that, but looks like he's going to go for it.
Well, unless lap 2 is going to be the faster lap of record, maybe he's not too concerned about it, but that car clearly set up on the loose side.
He definitely got some heat in those the right side tires for sure. It did seem like lap 2 was the money lap.
Will Jones, it seems like he is right on the razor's edge here at Indy. Slipping and sliding on corner exit, never lifted this time. So lap 1 in the books for Will Jones. It's not going to be a great one. We'll see what lap 2 gives us. 51.29. It's about 8/10 off what they ran in practice. Alan DeFries at top of the board right now with a 51.18.
I think we're aiming to see some pretty big pickups. I think most of these guys are just throwing away that first lap and just trying to get some heat in these tires.
Trying to get the overlay to reset, folks. It's overlapping from the practice session. Hopefully that'll update momentarily. Will Jones's first lap, not too shabby by comparison, still sits third on the board as he's back to the main straightaway. Across the line here, wound right up, and he goes pole, 50.593. Just a hair under that 50.6 you predicted there, Zach.
Beautiful.
Terry Wilson in the 3 machine with the old Dale Senior Daytona 24 color scheme. I love that on that car. Looks good.
It does look good. It just looks proper, doesn't it?
Terry Wilson in the books, 12th quick, 52.403. And Bobby Hamilton Jr. in a familiar Hamilton scheme, the number 25 Kodak Max colors.
Boy, speaking of proper, that is just right. That looks great.
A little bit of pride here in the booth as we're doing this broadcast from Rochester, New York, the home of Kodak, or really what was the home. They're still here, but man, a fraction of their once gargantuan size.
Yeah, they used to be just an absolute pecker.
Bobby with a 50.8, his first lap, currently sits third. Will Jones still with the fast time, 50.593, the pole speed to beat. 5-minute session already almost over. Bobby a little loose off turn number 4. Headed back down the front stretch. Across the yard of brick. Third quick, 50.7. Bettini cutting it close here in qualifying, real loose. Again, this is his first lap. Don't think he's going to get lap 2 in here. His time will expire in the next 10 seconds. 51.47. I guess first lap he did take, just didn't get a time of record. But as the clock gets to 5 minutes, that'll wrap up the qualifying session. In the books, Will Jones fastest.
Pretty good guess, Steve. Pretty good guess.
Yep. Would you say 50.6?
Yes, sir.
And he went with a 5.9 if you round up?
Yeah, definitely well done. Definitely well done, Will Jones.
Well, let's take a look. The starting grid for tonight's Brickyard, 150 on the pole position with a lap of 50.593 seconds. It's the 46 Bradford Aeroworks driver of Will Jones. Outside pole, missed it by 68 thousandths, the 55 of Ryan Dunkelberger. Starting in row number 2, Bobby Hamilton Jr. and Andrew Phipps. Row 3 belongs to Rodney Roberts and Will Hewitt. Row number 4, it'll be Drew Blaze and Corey Bigley. Row 5, A.J. Rogers and Stephen Luttrell. 11th starter, the 71 of Alan DeFries. 12th belongs to Chris Klein. 13th starter Frank Griffith. 14th goes to Mike Fahey from Lone Star Racing. Outcast Motorsports, Colt Ainsley will start in the 15th spot. Matt Nicholson, 16th. 17th, Jeremiah Holt. Dominic Bettini, 18th. 19th, the points leader, also from Lone Star Racing, Ken Couch. David Bradford rolls off 20th. 21st, Terry Wilson. 22nd will be Derek Runge. 23rd, Keenan Kimber. Brandon Minnick, 81 from LSR, 24th. And the HLC Motorsports driver, Mark Truxell, deep in the field in 25th. Don't let it fool you. Josh Ingram will start to his right elbow in 26th. And shotgun on the field. Didn't get a lap in qualifying. It's the 84 of Braden Bradford. He'll be the 27th starter. Your starting grid from Indianapolis Motor Speedway as we get set for the Brickyard 150, about to get underway momentarily. Well, before they start rolling on this minute-and-a-half pace lap, who's your pick there, Zach?
Man, I don't know. I've been kind of thinking about this the last few minutes. It might kind of sound like a cheap pick here, Steve, but there's a car out there with a fresh paint, piloted by this Drew Blaze guy. It's an Ozempic-themed car, and I think it's just going to be out there shedding weight just aggressively the whole time. So I think he's got the advantage tonight. I'm going to go with that Ozempic machine.
See, you shed weight with bone density, though, so that could be a problem. We'll see if the 88 can get all the way through this without wadding up some sheet metal and some roll bars. But I'm going to go with the 55 of Ryan Dunkelberger to win this one here tonight. I know it's kind of cliche, pick somebody on the front row, but it's not a short track for old Dunk Motorsports 55, but it kind of acts like one. It's just a whole lot faster. We'll go with the 55 tonight.
Solid pick. Hopefully the broadcast just hurts to affect either one of these guys. I'm not sure how it's been the last couple weeks, Steve, but boy, I feel like I give some serious bad luck.
Well, we'll take another look here at the race details tonight. 60 laps the distance, 150 miles, 70% fuel on board. They've got 4 sets of tires available over the wall, no fast repairs, 3 attempts at a green-white checkered finish if necessary. Temperature coming up slightly here at the Speedway, 70-degree ambient, 38% humidity, still partly cloudy skies, still a little breezy at 13 miles per hour, and track temp still hovering right around 72 degrees Fahrenheit. That's going to make for some quick lap times around here. It's just warm enough to provide some grip, but cool enough to provide a lot of speed.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, Steve. I know these guys really want to loosen these cars up to get around this track as quick as possible, preferably as close to wide open as possible, but get into a run here, that might create a pretty loose situation, so it'll be interesting to see who's got the long run pace here.
Field off at turn number 4. Pace car makes the left turn down into pit lane, and we are ready to race from Indianapolis quite a ways down this massive straightaway.
Can't even see him.
Green flag, green flag.
There is the green flag, and we are underway from Indy. Oh, Will Jones up the racetrack, real loose, exited turn number 1, but he straightens it out. Dunkelberger will go to the race lead. Will Jones in trouble early from pole, all the way down on the exit road from pit lane. He's going to have to get it back up to speed. He's going to lose a ton of positions from pole to 16th in just a couple of corners.
Absolute class act move by Will Jones there to take that access road after getting loose and not just coming back up on track. That's just a good sportsmanship.
Quickly,
by him.
Bobby Hamilton Jr. to the race lead, and the yellow is out. Derek Runge is in trouble. And just like that, chaos ensues here at Indy. A near miss at the front of the field with Will Jones. And Zach, as you said, class act jump into the runoff or the exit road there for pit lane to avoid a major calamity here at Indy. One thing to take note of here with that, as we get a look here at the Derek Runge incident just a moment ago, race officials have announced some new rules this week going forward. These guys do get penalized if they bring out a caution, but they've added a caveat to it. You get a penalty for the caution, but then you get an additional penalty for each car that is involved in it. So they're really trying to clean things up for these guys.
I love it. I think that's a great rule. Whoever thought of that, man, that's, props to them. I like it a lot.
So our first penalty of the night, it looks like it's going to go to the 3 of Terry Wilson.
Yeah, he might be dinged 2 or 3 times for that, too. I'm not sure how many cars ended up in that, but it looks like he just missed the corner there.
Lost the nose a bit. Dirty air, obviously a problem with these cars. I don't necessarily know it's a problem per se, but it's definitely something that affects all these drivers. But through all that, Bobby Jr. quickly jumped out to the race lead. So I want to go back and watch the restart here. And the restart, the original start with Will Jones. Try to get a look what happened here. This was the exit of turn 1 through the short chute. Watch the 46. We saw it in qualifying on his out lap. He got real loose on the exit of turn 4, but this time pinned to the bottom, can't really get a good arc in. Tries to stick with Dunkelberger, but just loses the rear end of the car. And a masterful job to hang on to it and just kind of fall on his own sword there. Go down to the run or the exit road for pit lane.
Man, and that's tough right there too, because there's not much rubber down on that access road. So, yeah, good driving on his part.
Having some issues with the cameras here. We're going to take a very quick break while we're under caution, see if I can get that figured out. It's not changing cameras, so stand by. We'll be back in just a moment. And we're back. All fixed.
Beautiful. Well done, sir.
The pace car lights are still on, so you guys didn't miss anything.
Didn't miss a thing.
Stream chat's awful quiet. Nobody in there just yet. If you'd feel free to say hello to us, tell us where you're watching from, who's your driver here tonight, anything really. We're pretty much fair game for most things.
Pretty much everything.
Oh, here's a Zach Millett saying hi.
Yeah, it was just me. I figured I'd get it started, Steve. That's one thing good for these damaged cars out on track. They're certainly going to have a long time every pace lap to get that damage taken care of.
It's also a nice caveat about this place is being the size that it is. You kind of got to treat it same way you would Pocono, as far as if you get to that long green flag run and you have to make pit stops under green flag conditions. You can certainly do it without losing a lap. Granted, the pit lane here is extremely long. We do see the same situation, like I said, at Pocono, but you almost have to treat it like a road course. You know, if you kind of work the race backwards, a lot of guys have done that in the past, be the first driver to pit last. You can usually set yourself up for a strong finish, maybe even a win if you can do that.
One thing to note, too, with this NASCAR layout here at Indy, the commitment cone is pretty far back. I mean, compared to the Indy setup where it's really far into pit road, this cone, you really have to be down at speed pretty early coming off 4.
Well, that's the thing with the Indy layout. I think they're required to use that access road. They can't make their entry off of turn 4 from the racing surface. They got to be down to that road.
Oh, I can't imagine taking that in real life. How that must feel. Just insane.
We got Lorna Little in the chat here for Luttrell here for Luttrell. Kylie G1Z, number 51, Chris Klein. Thanks for checking in. So pace car lights are out. You see the field formed up double file, ready to go back racing. Front row is going to be Bobby Hamilton Jr. and Ryan Dunkelberger. Bobby taking over the race lead very quickly into this race. We almost immediately had a caution. That was for Derek Runge.
a couple different incidents there within the first lap, but kind of looking forward to seeing how this restart is. Hopefully the tires are a little bit better shape for these guys.
Matt Sisler in the chat. Hello all, interesting car and track combo. My pick is also that newly painted number 88 car, mainly because Zach made such a good point about it shedding weight.
Hey man, it's just science, right? It's just science.
It's science.
Later car. Hopefully he can make it next week if his bones are still together.
Field ready for the restart again. Massive front straightaway. They got a ways to go.
Green flag, green flag, green flag.
Bobby jumps out to the race lead. Dunkelberger may lose second here. Being on the outside on the front row on these restarts, it's always a major detriment. Now Rodney Roberts will clear, get into the second spot, swings wide off of turn number 2, will reopen the door for the 55 of Dunkelberger. By side for second. Dunkelberger back to the bottom of the racetrack on Rodney Roberts. They work out of turn number 4. Saw the 55 step out just a little bit there on exit as well. Loose is fast, but there is always a line.
Yeah, there's always two loose too. That'll make things very interesting.
Roberts was able to take the spot back from Ryan. Oh, gets the wall there off turn number 2. Evasive action by the 55, and now Roberts back on the throttle.
This is what we're going to see a lot of tonight. You know, that third car in line's really going to have a choice on who he's going to go with. So the pass is, it's going to have a lot to do with draft.
So Lorna Luttrell in the chat says, could you explain that rule again? So yes, the new rule, in fact, I will go down here and see if I can find it and actually read it to you guys. Well, when I get to it, I'll let you guys know for certain. All right, I got it. So, moving forward, this is from Indianapolis, where we are at, obviously, tonight. Going forward, if there is an accident, the drivers will be penalized for causing the wreck, but then additionally will be penalized for every car that wreck takes out at the admin and race official discretion. Quote unquote, the bad driving has come to an end.
Yep, I like it. I like it. It'll make everybody think twice, that's for sure. Starting last here is, that's going to be a detriment.
Well, I think it's actually a points penalty, too. I believe they get 5 points for causing a yellow, and I don't know what the details are about what the penalties are for each driver. My assumption, just been reading it, is you get 5 points for causing the wreck, and then 5 points for each car you wreck.
Holy cow, that's awesome.
Some would say it's heavy-handed, but honestly, I'm all for it. Seems like the field's getting into a groove here. They're all starting to get single file here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. 8 laps in. Bobby Hamilton Jr. continues to lead, but Andrew Phipps has quickly worked his way up a couple of spots now into the P2 position. Last lap for Phipps. Only about half a tenth slower than Bobby Jr. And he's really closing in there, pulling a lot of draft down the main straightaway. Roberts has fallen back to 4th. And Bobby Hamilton Jr. steps out of line. Much like what you'd see on the super speedways, I think he doesn't want to lead. He's trying to save fuel. Never gets old. So it seems like we've got some supporters in the stream chat of this new rule. William Luttrell says, yippee. Lorna goes, I like it. I've often said, how do they fix that? I hope it works. I hope it does too. I mean, unfortunately, it's hard to retrain your brain, especially when you're trying to quote-unquote race. A lot of times that helmet goes on, or in this case, you sit down in the sim rig. All logic goes out the window. Vincent Short in the chat. Howdy, folks. What's going on, Vince? Let me give a call to David Bradford here. He's up 11 positions from the drop of the green flag. Started back at 20th.
It's one of the hardest tracks to come up through the field into.
Meanwhile, Andrew Phipps continues to lead over Ryan Dunkelberger. Roberts third. Bobby still back in the fourth position after choosing to step out of line. I got to ask there, Zach, I mean, does that seem logical to you that that's kind of why he jumped out of that lead position? I mean, everybody was really just single file. He's got to basically punch the hole in the air for everybody behind him. Does it seem logical that's why he bumped back to that fourth spot? And we might have lost Millet.
Yeah, I'm having a whole bunch of technical difficulties tonight. The internet is just not cooperating.
Bobby's putting the pressure back on Rodney Roberts now. I don't know if he's just trying to make it look good or if he's trying to go for that spot. With all that said, too, it very well could be a matter of that car set up to be on the loose side. It may handle better in traffic. We talk about how dirty air causes so many problems, and yeah, he steps out again. But dirty air, for those that don't necessarily know, if you're running tight behind another car, well, you don't get the benefit of all the air that's in the front of you pushing down on the nose of the race car, allowing it to turn better. Well, if you're set up really, really loose and the back end keeps trying to step out, you might want that dirty air on the nose so the front end doesn't really bite into the racetrack as hard. It might tighten the race car up, which is exactly what Bobby might need. Even in traffic, it seems like that rear end's trying to step out.
Yeah, we were talking about that a little pre-race too, Steve, about these guys really wanting to free this car up to obviously not be so tight and hit the wall on every exit. So you don't want to go too far, because when you get into a middle or late run, it could really start stepping out on you and cause you a lot of pace here.
With all that said, I mean, you did put some laps in on this track with a different setup, of course. Again, it's an open setup, so they're all on different sets as it is. But how did the setup build? Did it build tight over the course of a run, or did it get looser and looser?
It really depended on how you drove it, which is great about these cars, you know. If you're really trying to make pace and put a lot of pressure on that right rear, it definitely built really loose. And it didn't take long. It was only about that 10 lap mark it really started getting noticeable. So if you're out here just running qualifying laps the whole time, it's really going to start loosening the car to where it's going to be hard to drive.
Following up on David Bradford, he continues to march forward. Apparently this place right in his wheelhouse. 14 positions gained, just one spot outside the top 5. Running down Drew Blaze. Corey Bigley there in the 7th spot. He's only up 1 position. Another big mover throughout the field is the son of David Bradford, Braden Bradford. Started shotgun on the field tonight, up 10 spots in 17th. Noticing, too, that we've started to separate this field into some packs. Of course, this just outside the top 15 with Braden Bradford. He's got Frank Griffith, Jeremiah Holt, Brandon Minnick, and Alan DeFries in tow here. Further up the racetrack, everybody's kind of scattered about. A.J. Rogers in the number 1 machine, last year's champion, running in the 10th spot. Now Dunkelberger has fallen back to P3 and just gets the wall off at turn number 4. Roberts back up to the 2nd spot. Phipps continues to lead.
I'm surprised what kind of breakaway these top 4 cars have really made with the rest of the field. They're really carrying a lot of pace so far tonight.
Last lap for the race leader of 51.33, so already seeing some fall off in lap time, but Dunkelberger all over the back bumper of Rodney Roberts. Looks like Cole Ansley just made a pit stop here at lap 17. 4 tires. He's gone down a lap, though, so that kind of answers that question.
Well, it's actually kind of surprising, isn't it, Steve, that you'd be on pit road long enough, to go down a lap here.
Well, I guess it depends on where you are in the running. I don't know where Colt was prior to the stop, but let's try to get a look here. The leader's just now exiting turn number 4. Colt Ansley doing the same. So, yeah, he didn't lose a lap by a lot, and I think when this starts to cycle back through, he'll easily get that back, just given his proximity to the race lead. Some more drivers on pit lane here. Will Hewitt has come down.
Yeah, he was about, 8th or 9th, so this will be kind of a good view here to see if he goes a lap down.
So Will Hewitt, Matt Nicholson also in pit lane. Nicholson just exiting. So a scheduled stop for Will Hewitt. Cole Ansley kicked it off with his. Matt Nicholson's got one in as well. So 4 tires and fuel for Will Hewitt. He'll head back out onto the racetrack. And the question will be, when do the leaders come down? Rodney Roberts has gone around the 57 of Phipps and taken over the race lead, and loose on exit of turn 1.
Tires are really starting to go away on these.
Tell you, Zach, really doesn't look like they're building tight at all, because it seems like this is at the end of that fuel run.
Steve, I would imagine we'd see the 2 Stinger Motorsports cars try to come in together. And if they could both nail their pit stops and get a little distance between the other 2, they might be able to break away a little bit.
Phipps and Roberts still side by side off of 4. Phipps really loose, has to hang on to it. Actually still gets the run to the inside of Roberts, though. They'll drag race down to the yard of Brick. Roberts led the lap. Still side by side. Don't really see this much here at Indianapolis. Side by side racing for multiple corners.
It's just so hard to be on that bottom side and have enough momentum to complete that pass off exit.
Still, the battle for the lead continues. Phipps on the bottom, Rodney Roberts in the top lane and managing to hang on. This is really impressive to watch. And Dunkelberger and Hamilton Jr. will head to pit lane. Lead. Phipps second, Drew Blaze, Bigley, and Will Jones in fifth. Remember, Jones had his scary near miss, I guess you could call it, on the opening corner of this race. Managed to not hit anything, no damage to the 46, and continues to work his way back through the field. 4 tires and fuel for Bobby Hamilton Jr. and Ryan Dunkelberger both. A quick stop for the 25. 14.72 seconds for Bobby Jr. And now Phipps comes down to pit. Oh, one car in the wall, and the one of... A.J. Rogers almost nailing the wall himself. I'm not sure who it was that caught the wall just ahead of him, running behind Will Jones.
You got a little rear brake in those babies, don't they, Steve?
Oh, yeah. So Will Jones from the pole position. He'll have that number 1 pit box. Roberts stays on the racetrack. No, Roberts will now come down pit lane. Followed by Drew Blaze and Derek Runge also coming to the pits. Now Stephen Luttrell out to the top spot. Minnick second. Couch third. Ingram fourth. Roberts still shown in fifth, but again on pit lane, so that'll all change a bit here once everybody gets finished up with their pit work. A.J. Rogers drops the clutch and heads back out onto the track. Drew Blaze about to do the same after a 4-tire change. Heading back out, 15.10, a slow stop on the 88. Rodney Roberts even slower at 15.40. That's going to cost him, Zach.
Yeah, look at the track position. That's the cars that have already pitted. They're already going by. There goes Bobby. I mean, that's a lot of track position to make up when you're out there at Indy.
Steve Luttrell went the longest. He'll come down and pit. Brandon Minnick now stays out. He'll go a little bit further than the 36. Ken Couch, Josh Ingram also in pit lane. Now, Minnick made a stop at lap 2, that first caution. He did a quick splash and go to top off the fuel, so it kind of gets him a little bit off cycle. .14.58 the stop for Steve Luttrell. Now Brandon Minnick. Will he stay out on the track? To turn 4. And here he comes. So Brandon Minnick will be the last driver to pit in this first cycle. So, Zach, if this
Talk
runs...
about
Go ahead, Zach.
Talk about an old school paint job there. That's the gravy machine right there. I haven't seen that out in a long time.
Well, that's a throwback to the LSR days for sure.
I love it.
So through that cycle, Ryan Dunkelberger back to the race lead with a 2-second advantage over the 57 of Andrew Phipps. So let's break this down a bit. Curious how this one played out because Phipps had a lightning fast pit stop at 14.22 seconds, 50.05 seconds total on the pit lane, whereas Dunkelberger was 51.50 at a 14.95 stop. So somewhere in that exchange, whether it's entry or exit of the pits, and we know, Zach Millett, you've proven this season after season after season, that there was certainly time to be gained and lost on entry and exit, and the
How was your forward
caution
drive
is
there
now
towards
out.
the end of that little run we just did?
Yeah, Steve, especially here at Indianapolis, I think that access road that you take coming out of the pits is just absolutely everything. As we see, who's this, Braden Bradford had some issues here.
Caution on to Speedway for the second time for the 84. This coming out just after the green flag pit cycle, so this doesn't really kill anybody's day. Will set us up for really another, well, it's kind of like a new race going forward. Let's see what happened to the 84. By himself here, Zach, as he's just sliding.
Little high.
Four-wheel drift.
Yeah, just too high and too much speed carried through the apex there, and boy, he hit that hard.
It's a tricky situation because if you lift, which you need to do, you're going to unload the rear end, and now it's not a four-wheel drift, and the nose sets itself, and it just wants to spin out. But if you don't lift, well, that's the end result. You're going to pancake that wall, and in his case, he got it pretty good. I think that's a lot like the Denny. Did Denny Hamlin do that at Indy this year in qualifying?
Yes, he had an issue. Well, I'm trying to remember what the issue was.
I thought it looked just like that.
Yeah.
So pit lane open, and there's going to be some takers. They know they're not going to make it all the way to the end, but an opportunity. They got plenty of tires here, so they may actually bolt on a set, even though you saw these guys down pit lane a handful of laps ago.
Yeah, I imagine the guys who pit kind of early in the cycle are probably going to take a set because they don't want to be so far off pace. I think we were looking at 2.5 seconds pace difference from old and new tires.
Dunkelberger's fastest lap of the day was a 50.68. Saw laps almost approaching 52, so we're getting there. Slow stop. Jones has to back up. That was an interesting scenario. A slow stop to begin with, but then Jones has to back up and then pull forward. I'm not sure. Maybe he had it in reverse and didn't realize it. I don't know, but either way, he's going to head back out.
Yeah, I think it was an R for race.
Yeah.
But it was reversed. Because it looked like he had the service done, right? It came off the jacks and then went back.
Yeah, it looked like 4 tires and fuel, so I'm just guessing maybe he dumped it down a gear that he shouldn't have. Who knows? Chris Goins in the chat. Good old Indy, one of my favorites. Chris Goins, of course, helping us out here in the couple of weeks that Millett was unable to attend for work. Certainly appreciate his help, and he'll be back in the booth before the season's out. Millett's kind of rotating schedule will open up the door to have Chris Goins back in the Track Limits Network booth. Certainly appreciate both you guys being up here.
Heck yeah, I wish I was home for every week of these. It's a good time to come up here and broadcast these races. And remember what I said about that broadcaster's curse, Steve?
Mm-hmm.
Might want to check on your 55 car.
Oh, boy. Dunkelberger back in 18th.
I saw the notification pop up saying that he crashed, but it might be a pit road penalty.
No, he's got no black flag, so let's see what happened. If we got an indication from iRacing. Let's see if this will tell us something. Maybe he spun it out, leaving pit lane. This is on the exit road. And he just checks up hard.
might be some sort of mechanical issue actually on his rig here or something. Maybe just taking the time while it's still, kind of early in this race to just get it fixed and ready.
I'm not even sure. Maybe he had an indication to let X driver by. I don't know. Or maybe he's trying to, I don't know, he could be indexing the wheel, setting some, who knows. Maybe we'll get a chance to ask him when this one's over, but it looks like he's going to restart this one deep in the field as he's shown back in 20th now.
Boy, and if you're Ryan, you're just beating your hand on the wheel after that. You get such a good pit stop in and out. You got a 2-second lead on the field. Caution.
So I'm looking at this paint scheme on Rodney Roberts. It says it's Zach time. What does that mean?
I don't know. I mean, I'm a Zach, and I'm not sure.
Okay,
it sounds fun.
So he's not referring to you. All right.
I don't think so.
Well, getting ready for the race. Go ahead, Zach.
I hope he was excited that I was coming back to Indy this week. Maybe that's what it means.
Set for the restart here. Rodney Roberts and Drew Blaze will be on the front row. They stayed out. Their pit stops coming just prior to this caution. Green back in the air. Drivers scattering positions here, coming to green. Roberts will cycle in front of Derek Runge. Remember, Runge was our first caution. Obviously, that race car doing just fine. And Nicholson pounds the outside wall. Straightens it out, but he's way up the racetrack again. He's going to have to find a place to find his way back in, and he does so.
Ooh.
Close quarters, just ahead of Alan DeFries.
Every time you see these new tires, Steve, it seems like somebody's out of shape with them.
Back out front, still Rodney Roberts and Derek Runge, 1 and 2. Blaze shuffled back to the 3rd position on the restart. Real loose on exit. See the tail wisps its way to the outside. Just a touch on the 88 car. Now a battle for the lead. Runge with the run off of turn 4 down this massive straightaway. Will have position on Roberts into turn 1 and take the lead. Loose is fast.
Absolutely, at least for the first 10 laps.
Checking on Bobby Hamilton Jr. back in the 8th position now, working to the inside of Brandon Minnick for 7th. Bobby looked really fast out in the outset of this race on the first handful of laps. He got out to that race lead awful quick. Being out front in clean air, it seemed to work good for his race car, but again, a little loose in the setup for the 25. Maybe he had made some changes on the subsequent pit stops. He's made 2, so again, this is an open setup series, so there is an ability to make some changes, whether it be tire pressure or otherwise.
Yeah, and Bobby being as quick as he is, he's been doing this a while. He'd probably know how to change up his driving style to make the tires last a little bit longer for him too, if it was too loose that first run.
Making them last is one thing, but you got to make it drivable. I made that cliche joke, loose is fast. Yes, it absolutely is, but if you're just hanging on to that thing every lap, hoping it doesn't come around on you, that's not always the greatest way to drive these things.
Yeah, you blink, wrong time, wrong place, it's going around on you, and it's just living on that razor's edge, Steve. It's scary.
Some dark clouds rolling in over the speedways. You see the track completely covered in shade. See what that does to the track temperature. And it crept up a bit to 75 degrees. These clouds coming in, depending on how long they're here, we'll see. I know back in the day, the clouds would roll in for just a couple of laps, and that'd be enough to put a car on pole position.
Yeah, you see the clouds come in, it's time to push.
Runge continues to lead, 34 laps in here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. We are past halfway, so it's time for our side-by-side break. Stay with us. We'll come back right after this. You won't miss a moment. Spartan Transportation and Spartan Logistic Management is your one source for all your shipping needs. 53-foot dry van shipments, auto transport shipments, full-service in-house brokerage, drop-lot facilities, just-in-time deliveries to all auto manufacturers, facilities in St. Louis, Missouri, Kansas City, Missouri, and Indianapolis, Indiana. Spartan Logistics, LLC, proud sponsor of the IROC Series, Kyle Steffens UMP Modified and Silver Crown Driver, and Gordy Gundaker, World of Outlaws late model. Visit us at spartan-logistics.net or find us on Facebook.
Need insurance coverage that's built for speed? Frank Yea's office in South Charleston has your back. Whether you're blazing down the highway, protecting the home you've built, or setting up a legacy for your family, we've got the coverage you need. Auto, home, life, fast, simple, and made for you. Scan the QR code on your screen now to explore all our services and start a free quote today. Lock it in, save it for later, or call us at 304-744-7700 to get started.
Back live at Indianapolis, 22 laps to go. Derek Runge continues to lead. Rodney Roberts, not Robert Roberts. David Bradford up to third. Again, he started deep in the field. 17 positions gained since the start of this race, quietly working his way through the field. Drew Blaze fourth. Andrew Phipps has slipped back to fifth. Bobby Hamilton Jr. in the sixth spot. for the lead now. Roberts jumps to the inside. David Bradford slips outside, trying to push the 42 of Roberts' teammate down the back straightaway. Correction, Runge down the back straightaway. Roberts to the inside, trying to slip in behind Bradford. Goes from battling for the lead into third. Runge hangs on to the top spot. Bradford now to second.
Now, effectively, Steve, these teammates can pretty much affect this entire group up front here. If anybody tries to go around them, they can just link right up and go back around them.
Well, it certainly looked like that's exactly what just happened. Watching that get set up there by Bradford, I think as soon as he saw Roberts go to the inside, he's like, nope, I'm going to stick with the 42 here, and it worked. Man, they're throwing tire smoke through the middle of the corner. This is going back to the Bias Plies days.
It is fun to watch, man. They're really whipping these things.
I don't think I've ever seen that in iRacing. Obviously,
Bradford said the second isn't good enough. He's going for the lead.
David Bradford making the move on teammate Derek Runge for the race lead into turn number 3. Less than 20 laps to go. Bradford sniffing the lead out in front for the first time tonight when it counts.
That was a really good move by Runge there into 3. He kind of opened up his entry a little bit to increase his apex speed. Allowed him to slip in behind David Bradford there a little easier and not give up P2.
Top 6 all in the frame. Bobby Jr. closing in on this pack. Oh, Blaze gets the wall off of turn 1.
Little less weight right there too, Steve.
Yeah. Colt Ansley in the Bump and Run podcast number 86, not having a day that he really wanted to have. Ansley shown back in the 22nd position, 2 laps down. Which is very interesting, because from my memory at least, I remember Colt being quite the contender here at this speedway, going back to the old ARCA car. I remember actually racing against Colt. And I think securing a top 3 finish over him in the early days of my iRacing career. Then I jumped into a practice with these guys last season just for comparative purposes, and I was like 2.5 seconds off their pace. Give me some right turns and heavy braking. We'll call it a day.
Yes, please.
Bradford continues to lead. 18 laps to go over Derek Runge. Roberts third. Phipps in fourth. Drew Blaze back in the 5th spot. Bobby Jr. still in P6, but he has fallen back quite a bit from this group. He was within a second of the race lead, and now that's doubled to 2.
And he might be just getting out of the draft here, too. He might be falling back a little further here, unfortunately.
Pit lane open. Here they come. Roberts, Blaze, and Bobby. Here comes Ryan Dunkelberger to pit lane. Mike Fahey is going to come down as well. He's going to get into the back of Dunkelberger. Almost. Ooh. That was close.
Wow.
I don't think they made contact. I didn't see the 55 change position abruptly. No damage to the nose of the 19. He got it done.
Well, you got to just know Dunkelberger was at a full pucker looking at his mirror at that entry.
Yeah, don't hit me, don't hit me, don't hit me, don't hit me. Oh, did he slide through the box? No, he's in good.
Yeah, perfect.
Beautiful entry,
didn't slide.
Actually.
Yeah, he did that the last time, too. Even under caution, it was perfect.
It's all the little things that add up to a track position gain at the end of the day, and executed perfectly by Ryan Dunkelberger. He'll head back on out. Meanwhile, David Bradford still out in front. He'll go around the 55. So getting to the closing laps here, we're going to see our final round of pit stops here. I think we've had a couple of cautions so far tonight, but we're set up for another round of green flag stops. David Bradford. I don't know how I confused that. The colors aren't even close. He's just ahead there. Bobby made his pit stop, it appears, so he's back in 15th. Bobby's still on the lead lap, though, so he was able to execute his green flag stop without going down a lap. So that's proof it's possible. So he's done. He's good to go to the end unless we get another caution.
We should see him pull away from David Bradford just with these new tires a little bit. So it'll be interesting if this race does stay green, if Bradford would cycle around and be able to catch him. But I think Bobby's kind of in the catbird seat here. if a caution comes out late, he should be cycled towards the front.
Knowing that these drivers behind him might want to consider, you know what, maybe I should just come down and pit now, get it over with. So I'm kind of in the same boat as the 25, because you put him in front with just a handful of laps to go. He is extremely difficult to get around.
I'm really looking forward to seeing what some of these lap times look like, because Bradford's in a really good spot right here, having a bunch of draft in front of him, pulling them right towards him. So Hamilton would normally be a little quicker here. You can see the lap car get out of the way for David.
Frank Griffith up the racetrack, makes plenty of room for the 13 of Bradford. Now, at this distance, Zach, I don't know if he's going to sniff enough draft off the 25 to pull him, especially with Bobby on newer tires. He's going to gain a lot of ground in the middle of the corner.
Yeah, just a little too far, isn't he? Looking at the lap times, Bobby Hamilton ran a 51.05 compared to Bradford's 34, so pretty significant difference there, Steve.
Well, see, that's the thing. Bobby ran a 51.05 on new tires. Well, did he take 4? Yes, he did. So he's probably out there saving a bit, knowing that these guys are going to have to pit.
Yeah, I think we're going to see this lead group come down real soon, if not this lap.
I mean, Rodney Roberts, he pitted lap 43. He ran a 50.97 his last time by. Blaze a 50.95, same pit lap for him. Dunkelberger a 50.90, but he's showing one lap down presently, but that will change in relative short order when the leaders finally decide to come down and take tires and fuel for the final time.
See Derek Runge pop in there. He's going to make a pit stop and get it over with.
A little too heavy on the brakes for the 42 entering the box. He'll lose a little bit of time there.
And you can see the difference there compared to that last one we watched, the Dunkelberger. You know, I mean, just coming into your box, it could cost you a second.
Oh, Runge, a slow stop, 18.05.
And unfortunately, the one time you don't want to make that slow pit stop is under green flag stops.
Well, especially here, Zach, because at the end of the straightaway, they're running right at 200 miles an hour. And at every second at that pace, you're covering the distance of a football field. Now, Runge, his stop, 18.05. The average is about 15 flat. So 3 football fields is how much he lost while he was in pit lane. So that is a lot to make up here, especially with 12 laps to go.
And I like this time for David Bradford to come on pit road as we see him in pit road. With just 12 to go, he could go pretty hard here for this final stint.
Bradford went with 2 tires here. It looks 10.48 seconds for the 13. He's playing the gamble here. I would assume of all drivers in the field, Bradford would have practiced this, might know exactly what to expect the handling characteristics of this race car to be after taking just right sides. We'll see if it pays off.
You took the words right out of my mouth, Steve. I was just going to say, if Bradford took 2 tires, it's because he's already done this in a practice and knows exactly what this is going to do.
Get out of my brain.
Now, we watched this, what was it, last week, Steve? I'm trying to remember what race we broadcasted. It might have been the 0X crew over there, where somebody was leading the race and came in and took 2 tires, and it ultimately ended up costing them the race when a caution came out late. I mean, these cars probably be a little different, because if there's a late caution, I think we'll see everybody come down and grab tires. But I'm interested to see how this car handles for David Bradford.
That said, Will Jones, black flag, too fast on entry for the 46.
Damn.
Pole sitter in trouble again here at Indy. He's going to have to park it there, I think, for 40 seconds. We'll see if he ends up being able to leave. No, he's going to be stationary. Race effectively over now for Will Jones.
Man, you hate to see that for Will, man. You talk about bad luck this race from start to finish. You hate to see that for Will.
So Bradford in third as Luttrell and Minnick come to pit lane for their final stop. So Bradford will inherit the race lead with that quick pit stop, again saving roughly 5 seconds in the pits. So 5 football fields on the track. That is a hellacious distance. And you see he's got 5 full seconds back to Rodney Roberts in fourth, which will become second momentarily.
Wow, I'm impressed, Steve. I know it's his first couple laps out, but he was faster than Rodney Roberts that last time by, and actually faster than Drew Blaze as well.
Full 10th quicker than Roberts. Almost the same to Blaze.
And with 10 to go, this kind of lead, that's pretty hard to come back from unless those guys really start linking up and working together.
Even if they do, with 10 laps to go, you need to be considerably faster, to run him down. But then when you get there, well, Bradford will be at the advantage because he'll be able to take advantage of that same draft. So we've heard it said a million times in motorsports. It's one thing to catch him, it's another to pass him.
That's where it's nice being in the booth, Steve, because we get to watch it no matter what happens.
Well, then we could also worry about the fact that we got 9 laps to go. That's lots of opportunities for a caution. So obviously a yellow would completely change the visual representation of this race and how it plays out. Bradford's still out in front, 4 seconds back to Rodney Roberts. Quite a distance, maybe a third of the straightaway.
And running great lap times.
51.03 for Bradford the last time, almost 4.5 tenths faster than second place Roberts.
Now looking at the lap times, Steve, do we know if Rodney Roberts and Drew Blaze took 4 tires their last stop?
Both drivers did take 4, but they took it 5 laps prior to Bradford's stop. So even though Bradford only took 2, his right sides are definitely fresher.
That's what it is. Okay.
Now, with that said, too, because we heard some of this, like you were talking, Zach, about the 0X series that we broadcast on Tuesday nights. The guy that ended up taking 2 tires as the leader ultimately lost the race, but it was due to a caution. And even in his post-race interview, he had said, I still stand behind the decision. It was the right call to make, because if it went green to the end, there was no way anybody was catching me. And that's the truth, 100%. But with all that said, he even mentioned it, granted it was a different racetrack, that it actually helped the car turn better. Now, in this case, the cars have been pretty damn loose here at Indianapolis, but maybe the balance is just a little bit better with just the new right sides. Maybe David's well aware of that, but certainly working out for him now with 7 laps to go.
Yeah, and I think in that instance, being Pocono and the next gen being a beast of its own just with the dirty air, it's just one of those places, once you get out front, it's the best place to be. And in order to make a pass at a place like that in that car, it's just hellacious. It's awful.
We have heard, at least from David Bradford, because he's deeply involved in building setups for these race cars, not just for fun, but he even worked for a couple of the setup shops, developing setups. He's been able to look at the aero numbers for these race cars and just the design of them. There's not a corner on these cars that are, quote, symmetrical, if you will. They're very difficult to set up aero-wise. So they're very aero-dependent. So we talk about the next-gen car being difficult in dirty air. It's kind of the same thing with these cars. All for different reasons.
Right.
6 to go. Bradford's still out in front. 3.8 back to Rodney Roberts and Drew Blaze.
I'm really starting to see the lap time difference as these 2 tires start to fall to the 4 tires. And P4 of Andrew Phipps there turning a 50.59 compared to Bradford's 51.36. Definitely some pace difference there, but every time I look at that lap count, it's getting smaller and smaller.
You still want to talk about that, though. Last lap being a 59 for Phipps to the 51.37 that Bradford ran. Phipps is in, quote, dirty air, but how much of that draft is helping him?
Oh, it's got to be substantial with, compared to Bradford being up there basically by himself.
Now, let's not just say it's all draft and all traffic. Phipps is certainly a talented race car driver. He knows what he's doing at the wheel. That number 57 is he's already now up. Clears Drew Blaze, who in his own right is a fast guy out there as well. Surprised we haven't seen him park it in victory lane this season also.
Yeah, I think I got to stop picking him for it to happen. I keep giving him bad luck, but it's good to see him up here in P4 having a good run tonight.
5 laps to go. It's Bradford, Roberts, Phipps, Drew Blaze, Bobby Jr. Further down the line in 6th, it's Derek Runge, Ryan Dunkelberger, Will Hewitt up into the top 10 in 8th. Steve Luttrell is 9th. Strong run for the 36 so far. Corey Bigley, haven't heard too much of him tonight. Kind of a short track specialist, but having a solid top 10 day. As we got to move here, Phipps taking a look to the inside of Rodney Roberts for second with 4 to go. Now Phipps could open the wheel up more. He had a whole car width there to the 11, but still maintaining the position and clears Roberts for second place. 4.5 laps to go for David Bradford. 3.5 seconds back to second place. I just don't think he's got time unless we get a caution here, Zach.
Yeah, I think the writing's on the wall. I mean, I think we're going to see obviously a faster pace by this 57 car compared to the 13, but just not going to be enough with 3 to go this time by.
Coming to the stripe, 3 laps to go. And there is the distance to second place. Zach, that's an eternity.
Yeah, and you know, for everybody watching, you can look up on that pylon and see the 3.5 there ticking. You'll be seeing it tick down pretty quick, like right there, but it's just not going to come down quick enough. I think David Bradford's he's looking good right now, Steve.
Bradford quicker than Phipps the last time by.
Bradford pulling a little bit of draft off this lap car certainly won't hurt him.
Colt Ansley, granted he is laps down, but certainly a driver that Bradford can trust, either make room for him or race him clean. Phipps now quicker by 1/10.25.
1/10.25 with a couple laps to go. I like the looks of that all day. I think this 2-tire stop, like we were saying, is something that David might have practiced here late in a run, and he put it to good use here tonight.
Things run the way that they are. We'll get a chance to ask him about that. Colt will tuck in behind the 13, headed into turn number 3. So clear sailing out ahead of David Bradford here with almost a lap to go as they work off turn number 3 into 4. Every lap, that car is stepping out. White flag in the air, final lap from Indianapolis. David Bradford with the race lead. Last lap here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Looking to take home a checkered flag.
Down the back straightaway for the last time in that Crown Apple machine. He's up 19 spots tonight. P1 going into turn 3. It's looking good.
Took the words out of my mouth, Zach.
Get out of my head.
Once again. David Bradford, a couple more corners to go, and this will call it a night. This will be the first win of the season for Bradford off turn number 4, coming down to start finish. Checkered flag is waving, and David Bradford is going to win the Brickyard 150. Andrew Phipps will come home in second. Rodney Roberts, P3. Bradford showing why he is the old school SCAR Cup Series wins leader.
You know, there was a rumor this week, Steve, that if David Bradford captured the win here, that he would personally give everybody a 50% off discount on each Crown Apple for a week.
I don't know about that.
I hit him up on that.
There's been talk in the garage about Bradford hanging up the steering wheel. I don't know if this is going to change that mindset of David Bradford picking up the win here, race 4 of the season. Again, at a crown jewel like Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
I'd certainly hate to see him leave. I hope I get a chance to race him at least a couple more times. No checking that car, Steve.
Anybody tell him there's an in-car camera, too? I wonder if he's stuck on the wall.
Might be.
Nope.
Nope. Still looks pretty good for hitting the wall so hard, though. That thing's a machine.
We got Tweedle Pop in the chat, says, bro, I swear to God, I thought this was real for way too long. Well, I appreciate that. Sometimes if you have a couple of whiskeys, it looks even more real. So try that sometime.
A little more 3D, too. Definitely worth a try.
Bradford parks it on the yard of Brick here after his victory here at Indianapolis. We're going to step out, get our final break out of the way. We'll be back with our top 3 finishers after this. Stay with us. Spartan Transportation and Spartan Logistic Management is your one source for all your shipping needs. 53-foot dry van shipments, auto transport shipments, full-service in-house brokerage, drop-lot facilities, just-in-time deliveries to all auto manufacturers, facilities in St. Louis, Missouri, Kansas City, Missouri, and Indianapolis, Indiana. Spartan Logistics, LLC, proud sponsor of the IROC Series, Kyle Steffens UMP Modified and Silver Crown Driver, and Gordy Gundaker, World of Outlaws late model. Visit us at spartan-logistics.net or find us on Facebook.
Need insurance coverage that's built for speed? Frank Yea's office in South Charleston has your back. Whether you're blazing down the highway, protecting the home you've built, or setting up a legacy for your family, we've got the coverage you need. Auto, home, life, fast, simple, and made for you. Scan the QR code on your screen now to explore all our services and start a free quote today. Lock it in, save it for later, or call us at 304-744-7700 to get started.
Back at Indianapolis Motor Speedway, David Bradford picking up his first win of the season. Starting deep in the field, working his way to the front, taking some 2 tires at the end. A little strategy to get him to that race win. We'll see if we can get a word here with David Bradford, our race winner here at Indy. David, it's Steve and Zach with Track Limits. You got a copy?
Yes, sir.
David, congratulations, man. Deep in the field to start this one. 20th starting position. Quietly worked your way through the field as usual. We see that quite a bit. Don't make a whole lot of noise on your way to the front, but then a 2-tire stop, maybe fuel only in the final stop. Some quick laps there at the end, even if it was just 2 tires. Was that all part of the plan rolling into tonight?
No, I had honestly planned for this whole thing to go green, and once I qualified 20th, I was like, oh, great, I'm going to have to bring out my Millet superpowers and try and run down the top 5. And I felt like in that first run, I know I'm getting to be pretty old and stuff like that, but I feel like I was flying that race car pretty well around that racetrack. I mean, if y'all couldn't see that, I mean, come on, I was doing a pretty good job.
We saw it with a lot of drivers tonight. The rear end of that race car stepping out every single corner. Loose setups for the fast guys for certain. How difficult was it to hang on to that race car?
Honestly, mine didn't feel all that loose. I guess maybe that might just be the yaw or something like that that's in the car now. After I was able to touch it on a pit stop and I screwed it up, then it was digging off the right rear and I was real sideways and got out front. But if I would have never took that quarter round of wedge out, the car would have been fine and I'd have still been hauling ass. But, well, I just have to touch stuff from time to time. I start 20th and I'm running down the top 5 right before pit stops. And I was like, yeah, let me go ahead and touch that.
Well, either way, it worked out in the end. You drive this thing across the yard of Brick first. 2.67 seconds ahead of second place Andrew Phipps, who was running you down, but the question would have remained, if he got there, could have he made the pass? I know you tend to make that race car pretty wide when it's coming down to a race win.
I mean, probably the draft is so strong when there's just 2 cars out there. Like, if he'd have got there, he'd have got around me probably no problem. I mean, I'd have tried to give him hell and just hung around the outside, but really the car was driving good. He would just had such a straightaway advantage on me. Once we got on the straightaways, he would have just blew back by me at that point. But that's why we take 2 tires, right? So we can get that cushion.
Got the cushion for sure, held on to it till the checkered flag fell. Want to ask you a bit here about some rule changes going into this race and moving forward the rest of the season. We talked about it a little bit during the broadcast, just some penalties to be applied to drivers causing crashes. What's the main goal with that moving forward the rest of the season?
Well, I mean, like you see tonight, guys on the East Coast right now, it's 10:20, 10 o'clock, 10:30, is when the races get over. When you have so many cautions out there, 6, 7, that drags that time even further out, 10:45, 11 o'clock. And who wants to sit here for 2 hours and pace behind the pace car? Nobody wants that. Everybody wants to go out. They want to run green flag laps. I hate to say it, but they want to run the laps, get the show over with, and go on to the next one. Obviously, if you run good, it's fun. If you don't run that good, it's not as fun. But that's the main goal, man, is really it's keeping the cautions down, keeping people that shouldn't be wrecked out of wrecks, just making sure that everybody has an opportunity and not just somebody coming in here and wadding up the field and there being no point or no casualty to it. It has to stop at some point. The guys did a really good job tonight. I think the only caution came from that spawn of my sack. So I think we're doing pretty good.
Well, we had 2 cautions, but either way, I get the point. David, congratulations on the win here tonight, man. Moving forward, we're off next week, Sunday night, the 21st. I think we've got the break for the holiday coming up. But then the next race will be Chicagoland Speedway, I believe. How do you prepare yourself for Chicagoland? I know we've all been excited to go back to that place.
I have not ran there in a really long time, so Millet, I'm probably going to be hitting you up and ask for some tips on how to get away and get around that place.
Hell yeah, definitely, man. Anytime.
Yeah, that's all we can do, man. We'll get the session set up and just go from there, man. Try and get another one. All
right, David. Well, job well done here tonight. Who do you want to shout out to?
Of course, my dad and uncle, sister, my son, of course. He's not getting the results he wants, but he's still keeping his head up. He needs to practice more than what he does already. If I can keep him off that phone, and really, he's kind of been thrown to the wolves. He's only been on iRacing for about 3 months, and he's trying to drive setups that I drive, which are notoriously loose. So he's got a huge learning curve. He's got more practice to do, but he's staying with it and he's keeping his head up as much as he can. He's doing a really good job.
Well, certainly looking forward to the improvement from Braden here. We're expecting it. I'm sure it'll happen. If he's anything from your bloodline, I think he'll be just fine with some more repetition and some laps on these racetracks. So either way, David, we look forward to it. Congratulations again on the win here tonight. Enjoy the week off, and look forward to seeing you here in Chicagoland.
Thanks, guys.
David Bradford, your race winner here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. We'll talk to Andrew Phipps, our second place finisher. Pull Andrew up into the broadcast booth. We got more people in the booth than we should. Let's see here. There we go. Andrew Phipps at Steve and Zach at the Track Limits booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir. I got you.
Andrew, congratulations, man. A fourth place start, second place finish. Spent a lot of time at the front of the field. You absolutely had a fast race car here tonight. What was the difference maker? Was it the matter of 2 tires versus 4?
Yeah, the smart move would have been to take 2 tires, but I was thinking, I go, man, if there's a yellow, I'll be good. I should have did the 2-tire stop, but the 13 was classic field. His car was really fast. He was able, when we came in and pitted, and there was a couple guys that didn't, he was able to pick his way through everybody and get back up to the lead, and I was just stuck in that dirty air. Car was too tight, couldn't get through him.
Well, second place, certainly nothing to be too disappointed with. More points on the board to move forward now to Chicagoland Speedway. Of course, we're off next week, but 2 weeks from now, back to Chicago. How do you prepare for Chicagoland Speedway?
I'm just going to do the same thing. I've got a decent baseline, and then every time we go every week, I just start over and start playing with it. And we worked on this one a long time. Ryan and I actually didn't run the same setup. I couldn't drive his, he couldn't drive mine, so it was kind of fun. We'd messed with it a lot during the week, and I'm happy we were able to get a second for it. I got to say, the last 2 races, I'm new to this, so the last 2 races we were good, but too tight in traffic. So I gotta figure out how to make the car turn a little bit better without giving up my grip off. But I'm having a blast. This is a lot of fun. These guys are good.
Good bunch of guys for certain. Talking about the setups and how one can drive it one way and the other one can't. What does that do to your, pre-race game plan when you guys are working on setups throughout the course of the week? Who decides, all right, we're going to go with this or we're going to go with that? Or do you guys really kind of come up with multiple setups across the team?
Dude, I had like 7 setups, and I think I ran 4 of them in practice. As the weather changes just a tiny little bit, it's huge. And I even made a couple click adjustments for qualifying, and I'm like, man, I'm getting ahead of myself. I need to go back to where I was comfortable. But Ryan and I practice together a lot. He drives the car different than I do. He arced the corner, and he's a lot more aggressive on the throttle. I really need the car to turn. I don't need as much grip off as a lot of the guys. I like my car really loose. I just want it to turn. And if it'll turn and stay right down there on the white line, I don't mind if it takes a long time to get the pedal on the floor off the corner. Just need it turning good, So, and I don't think I tried exactly what he had. He tried what I had, and both of us go, that's terrible.
Well, we certainly look forward to more coming up here. Race 5 again a couple of weeks from now in Chicagoland. Trying to get that elusive first win of the season. I've got no doubt that there's an opportunity there. You keep putting the race car here in the top 3, you're going to get a race win. So with that said, congratulations again here. Runner-up finish here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Who do you want to shout out to before we let you go?
I want to thank you guys for the broadcast. It's tremendous. I love going back and watching it. Thanks to all my teammates. Ryan and Frank worked with me quite a bit. Bigley was busy and gone all weekend, but it was really fun. It's a good time working with those guys and learning how to do this stuff. So thank you guys. I'm glad to be on the team.
All right, Andrew, thanks for talking to us, man. Congratulations again. Good luck in Chicago.
All right, thanks, guys. Talk to you later.
Andrew Phipps, runner-up here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Next, we're going to talk to the 11 of Rodney Roberts, talking about a guy that is due for a race win. This guy's going to pick one up at some point or another. We'll pull him up into the booth. Rodney, it's Steve and Zach with Track Limits. You got a copy?
Yes, sir. I sure do.
Rodney, congratulations, man. 3rd place from a 5th place start. Walk us through your night. I know you don't have that elusive first win that we talked about. Even Andrew Phipps, winless so far, but you guys keep parking the race car near the front at the end of these races. Your time is coming. Walk us through tonight.
Well, I couldn't do it without Derek and everyone at the team. Wes Lenore, Derek, Dominic, and all of them. But just took it easy, and finally was able to complete one of these.
Well, it was a job well done. Most of these races, we've seen that 11 car near the front, and it's been fast. It's just a matter of putting the whole race together, getting that thing at the front. Third place finish here tonight at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. How differently do you prepare for Chicagoland Speedway here in a couple of weeks, or do you change the game plan at all?
We'll probably change it up just a tad bit, but mostly just practice and putting laps down and figuring out a good set for it and see from there.
Certainly looking forward to it. Rodney, congratulations on the third place finish here tonight. Who do you want to thank before we let you go?
I want to thank my team, Wes Lenore, Dom, Keenan, and all of them. Couldn't really do it without Derek and all of them, and Bradford team and all of that.
Also want to ask about the sponsor on the race car this week. It's Zach Time is what we see on the rear quarter of that race car. What's that all about?
So I got a friend, his name is Zach, and we raced, I think, 2 seasons ago when it was trucks. Had another buddy running in the trucks, and it was the Zach truck, and I figured I'm going to bring it back for our buddy, and brought good luck.
All right, fair enough. Rodney, congratulations again here. Third place finish at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Who do you want to thank?
Just the team and everything else, and that's about it.
I think I already asked you that, so we'll let you go, Rodney. Thanks for talking to us. Good luck in Chicago.
Yes, sir. Thank you for putting.
Let him out here early. Too bad. Rodney Roberts, congratulations, man. That's going to do it for the interview portion of tonight's broadcast. Let's take a look here at our race results. Of course, we talked to our top 3 already. David Bradford, Andrew Phipps, Rodney Roberts, the top 3. Drew Blaze was 4th. Bobby Hamilton Jr. finished in the 5th spot. Derek Runge came home in P6. 7th place was Ryan Dunkelberger, my pick. Zach, who was your pick again?
It was the 88 machine, the old Ozempic ride.
Oh, damn it. You beat me. Moving down the line, Steve Luttrell finishes 8th. Corey Bigley was 9th. And just a special note with Corey Bigley. We've seen him be very fast throughout the course of, well, the last season and even the early stages of this season. We even heard from his teammate here tonight. Didn't get a lot of work in this week, so a 9th place finish for the 58. Most would look at that and say, oh, that's a solid top 10. That's not too bad. And they're right. It's not too shabby of a finish. But I don't really think it's really indicative of the finish we'd expect to see out of Corey Bigley. So looking forward to more out of the 58 next race in Chicago in a couple of weeks. Further down the line, Will Hewitt was 10th. Brandon Minnick, 11th. Jeremiah Holt, 12th. Alan DeFries was 13th. AJ Rogers, 14th. Mark Truxell finishes in the 15th spot. Quiet day for the 5. Ken Couch was 16th. Josh Ingram came home in the 17th spot. 18th went to Dominic Bettini. 19th was Mike Fahey. Colt Ansley finished in the 20th spot. Tough night for the 86 machine. Chris Klein was 21st. Frank Griffith, 22nd. Matt Nicholson, 23rd. Will Jones, eventful night. Put it on pole. Had problems at the start and then a penalty in the pits. He finishes 24th. Terry Wilson was 25th, Keenan Kimber 26th, and Braden Bradford dead last, 27th, 34 laps down. As David said, he's got some work to do. He would like to see him put the work in throughout the course of the week, and honestly, I kind of agree with him, not even knowing Braden. Seat time's going to make all the difference, Zach. Would you agree?
Yeah, and I think it proves it throughout the field. You know, we were talking about Corey Bigley being as fast as he always is, and as talented as he is, not being able to get the time in this week to put in for practice, and having a 9th place finish, and then what Andrew Phipps was talking about with all the different setups and time that those guys put in, and look at the finishes they got. I think it just says a lot about this league and the level of competition, and yeah, I think you got to put the time in to get that top 5.
Well, with all that said, that's going to wrap up our coverage here tonight at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Thank you guys all for tuning in. Thank you certainly all for jumping into the stream chat tonight. Got to get those numbers up in the stream chat. I love it when you guys jump in there and say, hey, even if it's just a hey, hi, how are you? But let's keep going on that. That's a big part of the broadcast, and it really adds to the production quality of the show. Zach, got to thank you for joining me here in the booth each and every week. And the nights that you're off, well, you got to do what you got to do.
Yes, sir. No, it's always good to be here, man.
That said, thanks for watching, everybody. You guys have a good night.